Hello guys, welcome to the new video. So in this video we are going to look at one famous F.A.N.G problem which is known as rainwater harvesting. The statement of the problem somewhat looks like this. There is one girl named Apurva who has created an elevated roof and she wants to save water with the help of rainwater harvesting. For creating for using the technique of rainwater harvesting, she has created an elevated roof which looks like this, right? uh, the black boxes represents the roof which she has created, and the blue part is basically empty when there will be a rain which will be stored with water, right? As we can see that the water will only be stored between the blocks which are black, right? So we need to calculate the maximum amount of water which can be stored between these black blocks, right? And we need to output those answer, right? So in this problem we will be given an array which consists of n non-negative integers representing the elevation map, where width of every bar is 1, right? So by the width of every bar is 1, I mean that suppose this is 1 bar and this its width is 1, and there is another bar here as you can see. So the total width, or you can say the total height of this roof, you can say, is 2, right? Similarly, the height of this black box is 1, so the height of this roof is 1, and similarly here is 3, and so on, right? So in the current scenario which we are seeing here, as you can see that we can save maximum of this water. So the total units of this water is 1 2 3 4 5, right? So the output for this problem should be 5, right? Similarly, we need to generalize the same situation for any kind of input given by the user, right? Okay, so for solving this problem we will need to generate two arrays, right? Let's see how those arrays look like. Okay guys, let's see how does the arrays look like. The purpose of creating these two arrays is for storing the maximum height from left and the maximum height from right for each position of the element in array, right? So we will name those array left and right respectively, right? So we will create the very array of name left of size n, and we will store elements in this array somewhat like this. For storing the elements in this array, we will create a loop for int I is equals to 0 till I is less than n and I plus plus. We will create one variable called maxi which will store the minimum integer value. For storing this minimum integer value, we will use an header file called as climits, right? Now the maxi variable which we have created store the minimum value of integer, right? Now as we will iterate over all the elements are in our array A, which constitutes of all the elements 0 to 1 and so on, so that we can store the maximum height till for an ith element, right? So let's compare the maximum value, right? So we will update our variable maxi to by using a maximum function which is max of maxi and a of I. By writing this line, we will be able to store the maximum height till ith position in maxi variable. Now we will just update the value of we will just assign the value stored in maxi variable into the left of ith position. By writing this complete loop, we will be able to store all the respective highest positions from left for each element in our left array. So let's try run and let's see how does the elements in the left array look like. Okay, now let's try run our code. When the value of I will be 0, the initial value of the value stored inside this maxi variable will be, say, minus infinity, which will actually be the negative value of integer, but not minus infinity. Okay, when the loop will iterate, it will encounter a of I, which is a of 0, right? The value stored at a of 0 is 0, and due to this max function, the maxi variable will get updated with the maximum value between these two. As we can clearly see that the maximum value between these two, minus infinity and 0, is 0, so the maxi variable will get the value 0, and so the 0 will be stored in left of I, right? Now when the value of I will iterate to 1, the value encountered by a of I will be 2. Now the value which will be compared will be 0 and 2, and as we can see that the maximum between 0 and 2 is 2, so the maxi variable will get updated to 2, and so the left of I will store the value 2. And similarly, as when the value of I will iterate to 2, the value of a of I encountered will be 1, and now the values which will be compared will be 1 and 2. As we can see that the maximum between these two is 2, so the value of maxi variable will not get updated and will only remain 2. Similarly, you can fill up the values for maxi variable till the ninth position, and each position at and the value of maxi variable at each ith position will actually point to the value at ith position in my left array. I have filled all the values for you. You can check by filling yourself. Now let's see that how will we make input to our right array. For storing the values inside the right array, we will create an array called int right of size n. We will now create one more variable called int max, which will be initiated to int of minimum. Similarly, we created it in for storing the variables inside my left array. Or you can say that we will not redeclare it, but we will only reassign it to int minimum value after we have inputted the elements in our left array. Now we will write a loop for int I is equals to n till I should be greater than or equals to 0 by decrementing the value of I. For storing the values in our right array, we will move in this direction, and so we will store first the maximum position at our ninth position and so on. So the direction for filling the elements in our right array will be like this. So for storing the maximum height at the ith position in my right array, I will update my value stored in the maxi variable by doing maxi is equals to max of maxi and a of I. Now I will just assign the value stored inside this maxi variable into my right array. Now the maximum value at the ith position in my right array will get assigned. There is one update which you should do that I have written it wrong is I have assigned the value of I to n, which should be actually n minus 1, as n is 10 but the indexing in the array starts from 0, right? Okay, so let's try run this code. At the value I, which is 9, a of I will be encountered by the value 1, right? So the value maximum between my maxi variable and a of I will be compared between minus infinity and 1, right? So the maximum between them is obviously 1, so 1 will stored inside the maximum variable and same value will be assigned in the right array, right? Similarly, at the next, when the value of I will get decremented, the value encountered by a of I will be 2, and the maximum value stored will be actually the maximum value between 2 and 1. So the maximum value between 2 and 1 is actually 2, so 2 will be stored in my right array, right? Similarly, you can fill up this array by try running this code. Guys, I have just filled up my right array, right? You can do it on your own. Okay, now what more we will need to do in our code is we will write now we have filled both our left and right array. Now let's just erase this. Okay, I have my elements of left and right array here in front of me. Now we will write another loop for int I equals to 0 till I is less than n and I plus plus. Now we will create one variable called water and initiate it with 0, right? Now we will update the value of water for each value of I, something like this. Right. Oh, sorry. First of all, we need to store the minimum value of left eye and right eye in one variable called int many, right? The minimum function min function will calculate the value minimum between left of I and right of I and store it into variable called many, right? Now we will update our variable water like this, right? uh, a of I minus many, right? Now after doing this we will output our answer like cout. We will print the absolute value of the water. Why I am doing this will be clear to you in few seconds, right? Let's try run our code. Okay, suppose this loop is getting iterated from I equals to 0 till I equals to n, right? So for the 0th position, the mini the mini value will get updated to minimum of left of I and right of I, right? So the left of I value stored is 0, and in right of I the value stored is 3. So the minimum value between them is 0. So 0 will be stored in mini, right? Now here A of I is also 0, right? So water will get updated to the value 0 minus 0. As we can see that actually here is the value the water stored here is 0, right? Now when the value of I will get updated to 1, let's see what will happen then. Let me just erase this, right? Okay, let's see for the value of I 1, right? When the value of I will become 1, our A of I will actually store 2, right? And the minimum value between the left and right will be 2, right? So the value of water will get updated 2 minus 2, which was actually 0. So 0 plus 2 minus 2, right? So the value of water will be now 0. As we can see also, till here the water stored is 0. Now let's see what will happen when the value of I will get incremented to 2, right? When the value of I will get incremented to 2, the value stored inside this A of I will be 1, right? And the minimum value of between left of I and right of I will be 2. So actually water will get updated to 1 minus 2 will be actually it will be actually minus 1, and that's why we are printing the absolute value, right? We don't want to print the negative value, we only want to print the value here, which is 1, right? So that's why I'm using the for printing my final answer within absolute, right? Let's see, we have seen till here, right? The value of water has become minus 1. Let's see what will happen when the value of I will get incremented to 3, right? Now the value of I has become 3, the value encountered by A of I will become 3, and the minimum value between the left and right array will be 3, right? And the value of water previously is minus 1, and as 3 will cancel out 3, the water actually stored will remain only minus 1. So let's see what happen when the value of I will get incremented next time. Now we have seen till here, right? Now when the value of I will become 4, the value of A of I will be 0, and the minimum value between these two will be 2, right? And the value stored inside my water variable is minus 1. So the value of water will get updated to minus 3. Okay, so now water has become minus 3, and we have seen our I till 4, right? Now let's see what happens next. Now when the value of I will become 5, we have seen till here, right? Now when the value of I will become 5, the value of A of I will become 1, and the minimum value between the left and right array will be 2, right? And the previously value stored in my variable water is minus 3, so it will become minus 5 plus 1, which is minus 4. So the value of I has become 5, and the value inside my water variable is minus 4. Okay, now let's see what will happen when the value of I will get incremented to 6, right? When the value of I will get incremented to 6, we have seen till here, right? When the value of I will get incremented to 6, a of I will store 2, and the minimum between these two will be 2, and the value of water previously is minus 4. So this will have no change in it and will remain only minus 4, right? Now we have seen till here, right? Now let's see what will happen next. In the next iteration, the value of I will become 7, and the value stored inside the a of 7 is 1, and the minimum value is 2, and the value of water is minus 4. So this time let's see what happens. So value of a of I at the 7th position is 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 is 1, right? And the value at minimum is 2, right? So this will become, you can see that minus 6 plus 1, which is minus 5. So at I equals to 7, it has become minus 5. Okay, so let's just erase this and let's see what happens when the value of I will get incremented to 8 and 9th position. At the 8th position, the value of a of I will become 2, and the minimum value will be also 2. So 2 minus 2 will have no change, right? Let's see what happens when the value of I will become 9. When the value of I will become 9, a of I will be 1, and the minimum value here will be also 1. So 1 minus 1 will also have no change on the value of water, right? So the final value which will be stored inside the water is minus 5. And now when we will see out the absolute value of water, which is absolute of minus 5, 5 will be get displayed on our screen, which is the required answer. As we can see that the water which was stored by Apurva on the elevated roof was also 5. As we can see, this is the first unit, second unit, third unit, fourth and fifth, right? Now let's see how we can code the same in Virtual Studio Code. Now let's write some boilerplate code here and take the input n from user. This n will tell us how many elements are there in the array, right? So now let's just create an array, say of size, as we have constraint in the problem of 10 to the power 6, we will not define our array here, we will define it globally, right? We will also define our array left and right globally, right? Now we will take input inside this a array. Wait, now we are taking input the elements in our array a, so I will be less than n, right? Now let's just do cn a of I, right? Okay, now we have taken all the inputs in our array a. Now let's just take the input in our array left, right? So for that we will define a variable called maxi, which will be storing the int of min inside it. For using int of min, we will use an header file called climits in our program. Now we will just write an for loop int I equals to 0 till I is less than n, and we will just update our maxi variable to the maximum value of a of I and maxi, right? And we will just update our value of left array to maxi, right? Similarly, we will take the inputs in our right array. I have just copy pasted it, and instead of left I will just write right here and change the direction of iteration in my loop. We have named the array as RIGH but not as RIGHT, so let's just change that also. Okay, now as we have taken input on both uh, left and right array, so let's now create the final array loop for our final answer. Let's just create a variable called water, which will be initiated to 0, and just write in loop. We have forgotten to write int here. Let's just write in loop for int I equals 0 till I is less than n, and what we will do is we will store the minimum of, we'll create a variable called mini, and we will just store the minimum of left of I and right of I into it. Now let's just update our mini variable or water variable to plus equals to a of I minus mini, right? And finally, outside the loop we will just print our absolute value for water, right? Let's just save this. And one thing more, we have written t here extra and a t here extra also. Let's just remove this and save it again. Now let's just run this. Okay, this is showing me some error for the variable maxi. Let's see what's this. Okay, I have already declared it there, so it don't need any redeclaration. So I will just run it again. Now it should work fine. Yeah, now it's just working fine. Let me just clear the screen and rerun it. Yeah, so let's just give input 10 with the inputs as, let's just give the input as 0 2 1 3 0 1 2 1 2 1, which was the required input for the example we have seen, right? I'm just giving the inputs. As you can see, I'm getting the answer 5, which was the required answer. So this is how you can code the problem for rainwater harvesting. It's very easy to code this problem. Let's just copy this and try to submit it on Hacker Blocks, right? Okay, I have opened the problem here. As you can see, let's just try to submit it here. I'm just pasting my code here, and I will click on submit code, and let's see what happens. Okay, let's just submit it again. There was a problem. Let's see what happens, right? This, yeah, so as you can see, all the test cases for the problem has been passed, and this is how we can code the problem for rainwater harvesting, right? You can see the code here. If you have any problem, you can ask your doubts in the comment section below. I will try to solve them immediately. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you have seen this is too long, click on the like button and share this video with your friends, and also subscribe to my channel. Happy coding. Bye bye.